Welcome to Prime 9, the countdown show that covers the very best in baseball. Guaranteed to start arguments, not end them. In this episode, it's the 9 greatest third basemen. Why 9? That's baseball. 9 players, 9 innings. Prime 9. No position in baseball sizzles quite like the hot corner. You have to be lightning quick to snag balls that come screaming at you.
Holy mackerel!
And you have to be able to barehand and rifle the ball to first on little dribblers and bunts.
What a nifty barehand pickup.
Third basemen are also expected to hit, and most teams want them to do so with power.
This ball is hammered!
We included both offense and defense in our equation for determining the top 9 third basemen.
A sensational play on a side and another fielding gem.
We also looked for longevity, meaning they had to have played at least 900 games at third since 1901. So let's meet the best third baseman of all time.
Man alive, did Ronnie come up with one there?
Beginning with number 9 on Prime 9. During a 5-year stretch starting in 1910, the Philadelphia Athletics captured 4 pennants and won 3 World Series, all under the helm of legendary manager Connie Mack.
The A's in 1910 to 14 were one of the greatest teams in baseball history.
The infielders on this team, one of baseball's first modern-era dynasties, were so good they were called the $100,000 infield. Manning third in this pricey unit was Frank Home Run Baker, who from 1911 through 14 was among the most feared power hitters in baseball.
During those 4 seasons, he led the league in home runs, he led the league in RBI, he was 4th in total bases, he was 5th in times reaching base, and for good measure, he was also 7th in stolen bases. He was head and shoulders above what any of the other third basemen were producing at that time.
Granted, his highest home run total in the 4 years he led the league was 12, but 12 home runs were still an impressive feat in this, the dead ball era.
Frank Home Run Baker was his nickname, and it's kind of funny because he wasn't hitting that many home runs, but relative to his era, it was a lot. If you could put 12 out of the park, that was considered great power at the time. He kind of stuck out. He was a power guy in an era that didn't really favor power.
He became known as Home Run Baker not because of his continuing accomplishments, but for 2 swings of the bat in the 1911 World Series, when he hit home runs in successive games against Rube Marquard and then Christy Mathewson. The first won the game, the second tied the game. He was the key to the Philadelphia Athletics championships.
Baker spent his final 6 seasons with the Yankees, playing in 2 more World Series before retiring in 1922 with a career .307 average, destined for the Hall of Fame.
Frank Baker was certainly at the very top of the game, if not a totally dominant player.
The Chicago Cubs signed Ron Santo as a catcher in 1959. But once he became a third baseman, he made an immediate impression.
I was a third baseman, and here's a 19-year-old kid following me around like a little puppy dog. And I could see that I didn't have many more days to play third base for the Cubs because this kid had that kind of ability.
Santo took over third in 1960, and for 15 seasons played it like he owned it.
Ronnie was a gutsy player. He'd dive, slide on his belly.
Man alive, did Ronnie come up with one there?
He was very, very good defensive third baseman.
Good enough to lead the National League in assists an amazing 7 times, while capturing 5 Gold Glove awards.
Oh, great grab by Santo!
But Santo's skills went far beyond his glove work. Twice he led the league in on-base percentage, and among third basemen he ranks 9th all-time in both home runs and RBIs.
He was one of the best players in the league. He can field, he can hit, he can throw, he can do everything.
The Cubs win the ball game. Look at them all grab Santo.
Ron was tough. He didn't miss games. I remember him getting hit in the face. He took 1 day off. He was just that type of guy.
Ron Santo, still recovering from a fractured cheekbone, nevertheless will play in today's game.
For 11 straight seasons, Ron Santo played at least 154 games, and in 6 of those years, he never missed a game. All this despite secretly battling diabetes.
He didn't want anybody to know that he was a diabetic because he wanted to be on the field and wanted to play a game of baseball.
A 9-time All-Star, Ron Santo was a legend at the hot corner.
This guy was one of the great players in Chicago Cub history and one of the great third basemen in baseball history.
Welcome back to Prime 9, featuring the game's 9 greatest third basemen. We've stated our case for 9 and 8, which means it's time for number 7. Through his first 10 big league seasons, Alex Rodriguez was considered to be a superstar's shortstop.
Great stop by Alex Rodriguez, who throws him out. My, oh my!
But when Alex joined the Yankees in 2004, he had to make the move to third. And while there's no question that his defense has been solid on the corner.
What a play! What a play!
His prowess with the bat is why he's on this list.
His skill set at the plate is pretty much unmatched in the big leagues. I mean, he hits for power, he hits for average, he drives guys in.
That is gone! And he has 9 RBIs.
Since he moved to third, A-Rod has led the league in slugging percentage 3 times and has captured 2 MVP awards.
A walk-off home run for Alex Rodriguez.
Alex is a vital part of our team. You put him in the middle of that lineup, he's as dangerous as anyone in baseball.
In his 2007 MVP year, he set records for third baseman in both home runs and RBIs.
He's done it again! Simply amazing!
And in 2009, he added to his resume with a postseason filled with clutch performances.
And a game-tying home run in the 9th inning.
The things that Alex did in postseason, they were so timely, so important.
He's done it again! A game-tying home run.
I thought Alex's performance was as good as any I've seen.
There's a shot, drilled to left. Johnny Damon is in, and the Yankees have the lead.
He was one of the main reasons that we won a championship.
The Yankees are world champions for the 27th time.
His legacy continues to grow.
There it is, number 600.
And he now holds the distinction of being the only man on 2 Prime 9 greatest position player lists.
He will go down as one of the great shortstops of all time and one of the great third basemen of all time.
Hello, I'm Brooks Robinson. As third baseman for the Baltimore Orioles, I guess you might say I should know something about hot corners.
He sure did. For 23 seasons, Hall of Famer Brooks Robinson was the Orioles' third baseman, where almost nothing got by him.
Plug in the biggest vacuum cleaner you could find and just turn it on, because everything that was hit close to it sucked it up.
Brooks Robinson of the Orioles is such a magician with his glove that they call him Mr. Impossible.
My first year in big league camp, I saw him taking ground balls, and it looked like they hit 100 ground balls at Brooksy. His uniform was all dirty, and I went up to him and said, "Hey, Brooksy, you got 7 gold gloves. Why are you taking all them ground balls?" And he said to me, "Son, how do you think I got those 7 gold gloves?"
Brooks went on to win an incredible 16 straight, reflecting his stature as the best defensive third baseman of all time.
Mr. Impossible grabs it for a dazzling play.
No question, Brooks was a magician with the glove, but he also won an MVP award in 1964 when he hit .317 and banged out 28 home runs. A member of 18 All-Star teams, he was someone you could count on in the clutch.
He was their leader. He didn't mind the pressure, and if the occasion called where he needed a hit, he got it.
Brooks Robinson, a great clutch hitter, steps up.
And Robinson certainly did step up his game in the playoffs, helping lead the O's to the World Series 4 times. Where in 1966, they won it all.
It's a Brooks Robinson home run.
In the 70 Fall Classic, he hit .429 and was the series MVP.
Brooks Robinson has given the Orioles the lead with a home run.
He also had a defensive performance for the ages.
When somebody mentions Brooks Robinson to me, I think of the 1970 World Series against Cincinnati. He made some plays there that just were positively unbelievable.
Look at that! Great day in the morning. This guy's in another world.
Brooks Robinson, you can't say enough about him. To me, he was the greatest ball player at third base that ever lived.
Welcome back to Prime 9, featuring the game's greatest third baseman. Our list began with Home Run Baker and the Cubs' Ron Santo. Next came Alex Rodriguez, followed by Brooks Robinson, which brings us to number 5.
As far as the best pure hitter that I ever covered, hands down, it was him.
Boggs drilled it right to the vacated spot.
He could do anything with a bat at any time.
I'm not so sure that man couldn't get a hit if they turned the lights out in here.
He could place a ball like he had a pool cue in his hand.
Watch him go with the pitch. He was going that way all along.
When you're facing Wade Boggs, you just pretty much try and throw the ball down the middle with some movement. Hopefully he hits it at somebody. Just an amazing talent.
With 5 batting titles to his name, no third baseman has a higher lifetime batting average than Wade's .328.
That was just a good piece of hitting by Wade Boggs. What a great-looking swing.
And he approached every at-bat the exact same way.
He was so obsessed and intense up there, and he had these weird routines that he went through where he was drawing little forms in the dirt.
He would run his sprints before the game at the same time. He ate chicken every day at the same time, and his swing was the same every day.
He's the first player since 1900 to have 7 straight 200-hit seasons.
He seldom ever wasted an at-bat. He would work the pitching count, he would work the pitcher.
If he didn't like the pitch he was getting, he could literally foul off ball after ball after ball after ball. He was a magician with that bat.
What a job of execution.
That was Wade Boggs. He was absolutely amazing.
After Boggs joined the Yankees later in his career, he captured 2 Gold Glove awards.
Outstanding play by Wade Boggs.
And in his 15th big league season, he won his first championship.
It's a great feeling to eventually win one. It's something that you don't take lightly and you don't take for granted.
When he moved on to Tampa, Wade made baseball history.
3,000 base hits for Wade Boggs, and he hits a home run to do it.
His 3,010 hits are the second most ever by a third baseman.
It was all hard work with him, very much to be admired. I mean, he made himself a Hall of Fame baseball player. He was one of a kind when he played.
Whenever you went into Atlanta, you knew you were going to play the Braves, but you knew you had to deal with Chipper Jones every night.
A dangerous hitter in any situation.
Anytime you get an opportunity to face him, you know you better step your game up and bring your A game. Any little mistake, he makes you pay for it.
Goodbye, home run. Chipper Jones has got 2 on the night.
He's that guy that can just wake up, roll out of bed, walk out on the baseball field and hit 3 doubles.
That ball was crushed.
It just seems to come really easy for him.
Chipper Jones has posted some amazing numbers in his lifetime, and he did so from both sides of the plate.
Chipper Jones is one of the great switch hitters ever to play this game.
Jones, a switch hitter, has one of the most beautiful swings in baseball.
When he broke in, he reminded me of one guy, Mickey Mantle. Very intelligent hitter.
It was the same guy, both sides of the plate, exactly the same guy. It was amazing.
That's why Chipper Jones is an MVP, can do it from both sides of the plate.
Got 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. Does it year in and year out.
Chipper's got his eye on the ball the whole way.
He finds a way to get on that ball day in and day out.
He gets great power with a compact swing. That's what makes him special.
He's been Mr. Consistent. He's been the face of our franchise.
He was the overall #1 draft pick in 1990, and starting with his rookie season 5 years later, he played a huge role in the Braves' success.
The team of the 90s has its world championship.
Jones has won a batting title and an MVP award. His 11 postseason appearances are the most of anyone on our list.
Chipper Jones is the greatest Atlanta Brave player of all time.
What a player. Dust off a seat for him in Cooperstown.
There's a handful of guys in the game that you can look at them and tell that they were made to play baseball. He's one of them.
This was the epitome of a professional baseball player and one of the great stars of our game.
George Brett, the best hitter in the American League.
Wow, that man was, without a doubt, the best contact power hitter there was.
He can hit home runs. He can hit the ball to left.
George Brett was a wizard with the bat.
You got to have a quick bat to get on top of that type of fastball.
He used the entire field. He could hit the ball as hard as anybody.
Brett lines it for left field.
When we go to Kansas City, I was like, please don't pitch to this guy, because I don't feel like running all over the place.
Boy, did he cream that ball.
You know he was going to just tear that wall up.
When Brett finished his 21-year career with 1,119 extra base hits, he had more than any other third baseman.
It was amazing the way he went after each game, each night, each at-bat. Ran hard, played hard.
What a play by Brett.
His all-around hustle, it was contagious.
He's off to the races.
Because he led by example, it made us do the same thing.
Couldn't have a better man up.
We always had that confidence that if the game was on the line, we needed a big hit, he was going to be the guy to get it for us.
Here's the game on the line right now.
Brett has taken the Royals and put them in front.
I always felt comfortable. I didn't care who was pitching. I don't care how much success he had against me in the past, and just try to put myself in a position to do something special.
Home run, Brett!
Oh.
The game is tied at 5.
Brett was named the AL MVP in 1980 after flirting with the 400 mark late into September.
And there he goes, another base hit. Brett now hitting .407.
He finished with a scintillating .390 average, the highest single-season mark for a third baseman since 1901.
He knew how to play the game.
George Brett has his 3,000th hit.
He lived for the moment.
The Kansas City Royals are the 1985 World Champions.
The more pressure, the better, and you'd never know it.
George Brett, number 5, number 1 in Kansas City.
We now return to Prime 9, where this week we're featuring the game's greatest third baseman. Keep in mind that both offense and defense were taken into consideration. You had to have played at least 900 games at third. It's now time to reveal the identities of the 2 best third basemen of all time. We begin with number 2.
Number 41, the strong man of the Milwaukee Braves, Eddie Matthews.
That guy was strong.
Matthews mashes one that looks like it's never going to stop.
He impressed me when I saw him for the first time. Wow, what a ball play.
Eddie Matthews drilled it hard to right.
Simply put, Eddie Matthews took the notion of a slugging third baseman to another level.
His power hitting was legendary.
Everyone likes to see Eddie bang that long ball.
Before Matthews, the most home runs a third baseman ever hit was 192 by Al Rosen. Matthews hit 190 home runs by age 24.
The 12-time All-Star led the National League in home runs in 1953 and 59, as he blew by many of the great power hitters of the past.
In 1962, Matthews became the 3rd leading home run hitter in National League history.
Matthews, through age 30, was one of the top 3 or 4 sluggers in Major League history.
He had just a beautiful swing, maybe a perfect swing.
There goes another one.
It all led to all the home runs that he hit.
Eddie Matthews blasts one far and wide.
Well, when you think about the 512 home runs, I mean, you think about his bat, but he more than held his own with the glove.
Scouting report, good hit, good field.
When the Milwaukee Braves won their only World Series title in '57, Matthews' glove work was the clincher.
Matthews makes a miraculous backhanded stab of the ball, and the Milwaukee Braves are the new world champions.
There is a reason why Eddie is often overlooked.
Matthews played before television was as big of a force as it is now, and fans in New York or in St. Louis might not have seen Matthews more than a handful of times a year and just not have realized what a tremendous player he was.
Boy, the game meant everything to him. He made himself into a Hall of Fame great player, and he was really fun to watch.
Batting fourth, playing third base. Number 20, Mike Smith.
If you're building a team and you want to start with third baseman, Mike Smith is the guy that you want.
It is out of here, Michael Jack Smith.
In 1974, Just his second full season in the majors, Schmidt led the league with 36 home runs. Baseball was witnessing the birth of a legend.
Long drive to left field. He buried it. Oh, what a drive by Schmidt. Unbelievable.
Schmitty was the guy that if you had the opportunity, you didn't want to let him beat you. But don't make a mistake.
It's all over. Mike Schmidt with a home run.
I think the man was hitting out of turn, you know? Every time I come in the pitch, he was like the third hitter up or something like that.
It is out of here. Michael Schmidt.
He was one of the guys where they would say Mike Schmidt and the Philadelphia Phillies. You know, it was like that. He was just that dominant a player.
Schmidt won an astonishing 8 home run titles, second only to Babe Ruth. He'd retire in 7th place on the all-time home run list.
The career 500th home run for Michael Jack Schmidt.
Well, the guys in the 500 home run club, I might stand out a little bit because, you know, I got an office full of gold gloves.
Indeed. For even though his power was prolific, his 10 gold gloves, the second most at his position, are what took him to another level.
Mike Schmidt was as good a third baseman as I've ever seen defensively. He can make all the plays, coming in, going back, going left, going right. Great arm.
I saw him make spectacular play after spectacular play.
Oh, what a play by Schmidt!
Some of the plays you would only think that a Brooks Robinson would make.
It's his numbers, his defense, his work ethic, and his unwavering focus that makes Michael Jack Schmidt the greatest third baseman of all time.
Just see the consistency in his work and how driven he was. There's a reason he is where he is today in the Hall of Fame. There's a reason he is a top third baseman in the game.
If baseball's old guard were to quibble with any name not on our list, it would probably be Pittsburgh Hall of Fame third baseman Harold Joseph Pie Traynor. After all, Pie played 17 seasons for the Pirates starting in 1920, finished with a .320 batting average, and drove in more than 1,200 runs. For close to half a century, Pie was considered the best third baseman of all time. So why isn't he one of our prime 9? Well, Pie flourished in an extraordinarily high run scoring environment, and his numbers are partially a product of that landscape. But although Pie didn't make the cut, we hope that by granting him this little slice at the end of the show, he gets his just desserts. That's our Prime 9. What's yours?